Jai Hanuman, part 2. So we ended up on Hanuman's Leap, and there's a story of Hanuman. And Hanuman, the monkey, is very relevant even today, big time. Neem Karoli Baba, they said Maharaji was Hanuman. Hanuman is Ramdas's archetype. I did a whole podcast on Ramdas's channel where they interviewed me on Hanuman, and we did a meditation on Hanuman. I do not recommend hearing while driving, but very powerful archetype for devotion. But the journey of Hanuman starts when he was a little boy, and he had this superpower of leaping, and he was always hungry like most boys, right? And he sees the sun, and he mistakes the sun as a mango, and that's the first leap he makes. Okay, so Hanuman in the story of Ramayana has 3 leaps. This is the first leap. As a child, he leaps to the sun and literally grabs the sun, and then he eats it, and the world gets dark. So the gods get worried, and Indra, the head of the gods, strikes him with a thunderbolt, and it hits his chin, and he kind of falls unconscious. And that's why the name Hanuman means the cleft chin. But when he's unconscious, his father Vayu, the wind god, gets mad and withdraws prana, air from the earth. And again the gods get worried, they want to placate Vayu. So each of them give Hanuman a superpower. So Hanuman has Ashtasiddhi, which means 8 superpowers. Like for instance, Surya gave him the power that he cannot be burnt. Durga gave him the power of courage. He got a power that he can enlarge himself huge. Or he got another power that he can shrink himself to a fly. So Hanuman has 8 powers. Guess what? Goddess Durga has 8 powers from all the gods and goddesses. So there's a connection between Hanuman and Durga, which we're going to explore later. But the first leap of Hanuman is when he gets all these superpowers as a result of the leap. So we're actually going to demonstrate that leap with my 2 beautiful friends here. Warwick, please come on up. That's Warwick. And there's some rules about using children in videos. And obviously Warwick is not related to me, but I have Warwick's dad, Kurt, who's been doing the filming. And Kurt, do you give consent for the leap?
Yep, he can do this.
Okay. How about you, Warwick?
Yep.
You feel Hanuman? Jai Hanuman. So Kurt's son Warwick is going to demonstrate the leap of Hanuman. So what we have over there are meditation cushions. There's exactly about 75 cushions where people use for a retreat, and literally there's like a mountain of cushions, right? And Warwick loves arranging the cushions. So Kurt's going to demonstrate a leap right on top, and that's literally about 4 to 5 feet.
It's almost as tall as you are.
Jai Hanuman. Okay, please stay there. Come on up, Kurt. So Warwick, what is it about Hanuman that you enjoy?
That he has superpowers. And he could jump really high.
Yes. Who's your favorite superhero?
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man? Okay. But you're reading up about Captain Underpants? I love that too. And Hanuman has an underpant. He's called Langot. It's called Langot in Hindi. That's cool, yeah? And you haven't watched that movie yet, you might be a little young, but Black Panther is another superhero movie, right? And in Black Panther, there's the hero, he fights another person who's a king of warriors. And before the fight, the king yells, Jai Hanuman. He actually says glory to Hanuman, which is like Jai Hanuman. So it's fascinating. And the other thing fascinating is, I don't know if this has a parallel, but the movie Planet of Apes, you know. So the idea of Hanuman is, they belong to a race called Vanaras. Vanara literally means, am I human? Nara means human. And that's an important question, because in the story of Ramayana, there are three predominant monkeys. One is Hanuman, the second is what is called Vali, a bad monkey, and then Vali's brother Sugriva in the middle. And then there are three cities. One is Ayodhya, which is where Ram grew up. And Yodhya means fight. So Ayodhya means peace of mind. So these are all like metaphors. And the second city is where the apes grew up. It's not apes, it's called Vanaras. It's like humanoid, another race. And that city is called Kishkinda. And then there's a third city or a country called Lanka, where the demons are. So you have Ayodhya in one hand, and you have the Lanka, the demons in one hand, you have the peace of mind, you have the demonic tendencies, and you have Kishkinda in the middle. So Hanuman automatically looks to Ayodhya. That's peace of mind, he's godlike. And Vali, the demon, looks to Lanka because he had the demonic tendencies. And Sugriva is right in the middle. It's both black and white. He has a gray. So he's like the typical human condition. He's saying what to do, what to do. We have both. We have the gods and the demons within us. So Sugriva is right in the middle. And that's our human condition. So we talked about the movie reference. There's another movie reference. I'm shifting the yuga into the Mahabharata, where you have Krishna, you have the Bhagavad Gita, and the Bhagavad Gita has an interesting movie reference. There was a golf movie. You play golf, Warwick? Have you been to a golf course?
Mm.
Okay.
I've seen one, but I haven't really played. I only go to places and they have mini golf.
Mini golf, yeah. What do you think of the sport golf? Does that speak to you?
A little.
Yeah. I always thought golf, is not like basketball, but I understand there's a lot of strategy and I could never, get it, but there's a whole golf channel and people watch it.
Do you remember the story about how golf was invented in The Hobbit?
It's where his Bilbo, his great grandfather had a sword, I think, or an axe, and then he hit a goblin's head and it landed in a hole, and that's how golf was invented.
Wow, that's cool.
In the movie.
So that's beautiful mythology. And kids love stories and superheroes. And as adults, we've never outgrown it, right? So coming to the golf, Bhagavad Gita, there was a golf movie called Legend of the Bagger Vance. Remember that, Kurt? In early 2000. There was a movie directed by Robert Redford. And that whole movie is on the Bhagavad Gita. Because there was a golfer, Matt Damon, who loses his golf swing. He was a very famous golfer. He's won many tournaments. But for a major tournament, he gets fright. He gets depression. And Matt Damon's name in the movie was Juna, very similar to Arjuna. And then Will Smith appeared as his caddy. And he explains to to Juna, Matt Damon, the meaning of life, how to find his Swadharma. That's what we're going to get into, the Bhagavad Gita and Swadharma, your calling. What are you meant to do? They don't teach you this in college. And Will Smith is his caddy, which is like Krishna, the charioteer, the dark one. And then you have 18 holes of golf. Yeah, 18 chapters in the Bhagavad Gita, many parallels. Even if you take the name Legend of the Bagger Vans, you take the first three letters of Bagger, B-A-G, and the first three letters of Vans, V-A-N, it's Bhagwan. It's Bhagwan Shri Krishna. So these symbols are encoded in current movies. Okay? We're not done with Hanuman yet. So we're done with the first leap. For the second leap, let's take a little hiatus when we go to the second leap. And then we summarize the whole thing. Thank you, Warwick. That was a wonderful leap. Very inspirational. Jai Hanuman.
Jai Hanuman.
There you go. Jai Hanuman. Thank you, Kurt. Love you. Love Warwick. Kurt has been doing all the filming. And just love the karma yoga. Kurt is a karma yogi. And we talked about Hanuman's leap. There's a second leap of Hanuman where he has to leap from the southern tip of India to Sri Lanka. But the second leap is a hero's journey. And these are some metaphors which are there, but people usually don't know. And the idea is, to rescue Sita, the whole monkey army goes all over India, couldn't find Sita. And now Sita is like literally 800 miles away in Sri Lanka. She's kidnapped by Ravana. And interestingly, you jumble Ravana, R-A-V-A-N-A, and you jumble Vanara, which is the monkey race. It's anagram, right? Would you say that's an anagram?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Vanara and Ravana. Yeah. That's why I'm saying the humanoid we can either be on God's side or the demon side. We're a bridge between the divine and the diabolical. And the great philosopher Nietzsche said, no man can live on a bridge forever. So we have to go this way or this way. So the yoga, the spiritual retreats is about going into the divine of our nature. So Hanuman with his monkey army goes to the south of India and they couldn't find Sita, and they were wondering, all of them were doing what to do, as the Indians would say. And that's when an old bear, there's a bear in the movie called Jambavan. It's not Jamba juice. You've had Jamba juice? Okay. Yeah, my daughter likes Jamba juice too. So that's when Jambavan reminds Hanuman of his superpowers. And the other monkeys talked about their past. I used to be good, I used to do all that. But when you get older, there's a tendency to live in the past. And here's an old bear living in the future, inspiring someone younger. So that's a message right there. Hey, part of this journey is to inspire people to carry on the teachings. We don't hold it. We don't need to do everything. And similarly, in the next epic, Mahabharata, Hanuman inspires Bhima, one of the Pandavas, to carry on the teachings. So Hanuman doesn't take an active role, he inspires. And even in the chariot of Krishna, Hanuman is like a flag. There's a flag of Hanuman. So that's how the story is. But then when this old bear, Jambavan, reminds Hanuman of his superpowers, Hanuman grows huge. And then he stills his prana, his muscles, his thigh muscles, he crouches. And he takes a huge roar. And he takes a massive leap. And the roar was so powerful, the leap, that there was like an earthquake. And the trees were shaking. And the snakes leapt out of the burrows. The animals ran around. And during his leap, and this is a hero's journey. The hero literally starts the journey here. During his leap, Hanuman encounters a mountain that suddenly appears from the ocean out of gold. Hanuman's leap, right? The first thing that appears is Mainaka, golden mountain, which invites Hanuman to rest, take some massage, some acupuncture, have a nice time. And Hanuman says, no, I have a mission, I have my swadharma, I have a purpose. So he just touches the mountain just to honor that. So in our spiritual journey, in that second quadrant, there's a tendency to slip into the familiar. We want the same old stuff, we want the corporate job, we want to be spiritual, but we also want the comforts, But it's really about commitment into the journey. So that's the message here. The second thing Hanuman encounters in his leap, he's still flying. He encounters a demoness called Surasa. And she has another superpower that she can enlarge her mouth, or she can do bigger than anyone who's there. So as a result, she's like a toll gate, like a toll to prevent people from crossing the ocean. So Hanuman is big, remember, when he makes a leap, and her mouth becomes bigger than him to swallow Hanuman. Then Hanuman gets even more bigger, her mouth gets even more bigger. He gets even more bigger, her mouth gets even more bigger. But then Hanuman is very smart. He's very strong and smart and humble. That's his archetype. So he shrinks to a size of a little mosquito or a fly. And he goes inside her mouth and then comes out and said, hey, I paid my toll. Because the toll was anyone who crosses the ocean has to enter her mouth. So the idea of this, the metaphor of this is, part of in the spiritual journey, you're around a lot of people. There's a tendency to be competitive. That, hey, I'm more spiritual than you are. There's a tendency to do like virtue signaling. Hey, you're supposed to do this, you're supposed to do that. I'm more spiritual, etc., etc. Or maybe there's a tendency to be a pretendananda. Speak slowly, profoundly. It's like almost, if you don't have it, just fake it. It's a tendency to not be authentic, just so that you can be more competitive, just like the mouth getting bigger than Hanuman's size. And in the journey, it's not about that. The journey is more about it's an inward journey. It's not about other people, it's how you transform internally. And then Hanuman continues his leap, and the final thing he meets is another demoness called Sinhaka. Sinhaka, her superpower is when she sees a shadow, she can immediately grab the shadow and pull the person down. So she literally grabbed Hanuman's shadow, and Hanuman couldn't move. And then she pulls Hanuman to the ground or to the ocean. She emerges from the ocean, right? And what Hanuman does is he allows himself to be eaten by this demoness, and then he goes inside and he rips her insides and comes out. But the metaphor is, part of this journey is to work on our shadow. We cannot do what is called spiritual bypassing, because if we do that, stuff will be within us. We all have the shadow side. And part of the journey to self-actualization, this is Carl Jung, and we're going to go do some shadow work during the retreat, is to integrate a shadow. And firstly, to be aware of them. So that was the metaphor of Hanuman's leap. Then he leaps into Sri Lanka, and he goes where Sita is, and Sita is like in a forest, in a little garden actually. It's Sita's garden. And imagine if this big monkey comes in front of Sita, she hasn't seen him, she'll get scared, right? So what would Hanuman do? He becomes tiny. And he hides behind a leaf, and he starts to chant the Ramayana. And he has a very sweet voice. Do you know that, Warwick? Hanuman has a very sweet voice. and he has a fantastic memory. He's the most learned sage ever. That's how smart Hanuman is. He's read all the books which you're reading right now. He's read all the books there are. That's another of his superpower, is reading and knowledge. So Hanuman chants the Ramayana, and that's how Sita sees Hanuman and accepts Hanuman as Ram's ally, as his friend. The metaphor here is, again, in the hero's journey, the hero subdues the demon, and the third quarter is you become more Hanuman-like with bhakti, but in the fourth quarter the hero goes back to the community to teach. Again, there's a tendency as a teacher, and there are many teachers amongst us, there's a tendency to elevate yourself. But can we all be like Hanuman? Can we shrink ourselves and allow God to represent us? So I've seen, again, it is what it is, but I see so many like flyers out there where the teacher's picture is huge. No, we shrink ourselves. We shrink ourselves, allow the God within to expand, because that's who we are. So the final frontier is the ego. That's the real metaphor of Hanuman's leap, okay? So we're going to get into three main characters, Ram, Sita and Hanuman. And then we're going to do something unusual. We're going to do filming of people who are attending the retreat either before or during the retreat on what's your story. So for instance, if you identify with Krishna, this is a Murti of Krishna, and right next to that is Hanuman, right? This is a Bhakti Hanuman. So you can identify with Hanuman, you can identify with Ram, Ganesh, Shiva, Durga, Kali, Lakshmi, Saraswati, etc. Krishna, for instance, has the flute, which is hollow but can emanate beautiful music. So when you empty yourself of these desires, attachments, ego, you can emanate the beautiful music of the self. And that's really, Jyothi is co-teaching with me the retreat. She's really a singer and a scholar. You know, she's a scholar of Vedanta, the philosophy. She's a Sanskrit scholar, and she's a singer. She's been trained since the age of 5. So it's a very unusual combination. So we're going to have a lot of teachings on the Bhagavad Gita, quite a bit of singing and chanting by Jyothi. Okay, so that's the Krishna archetype, very beautiful archetype. Now, each one of us has a story, and we're going to film that during the retreat. And my personal archetypes are Ganesh, probably because of my belly, but Ganesh grounds me, gives me wisdom, and removes obstacles, right? But what use is knowledge if you don't use it to serve? So Hanuman is my archetype, and Durga is also my archetype. So I have 3. So, Kurt, who are your archetypes?
I think right now Hanuman.
Okay.
And I am starting to resonate more with Durga just because of the present place that I'm in my life. Those two seem to be really kind of vibing with me at the moment.
And it's interesting, your very first Murti was a Ganesh Durga, right?
Yeah, yeah.
A Ganesh with a lion.
Yeah.
And Kurt is doing the filming and as well as being part of the filming, right?
Yeah.
Like Vyasa or Valmiki, who witnessed the story but were part of the story. And you and I have done so many filming together. I remember you and I doing a 1.5 hour, one shot, 1.5 hours filming. I think we went a bit extra.
We
right?
did on that one, yeah.
Extra is a millennial word, which means kind of over the top.
We went so extra that the props were falling down, the tape was letting go.
But you and I did a whole thing on hero's journey, right?
Yeah, yeah.
The 6-foot Nataraj.
Yeah.
So what's your feeling on the hero's journey?
I think it's like anything, like the 7 stages of grief or whatever. I think it's something that we have to go and experience. And so the more we try to stay in the 3rd and the 4th quadrant, the less I think we get pulled back or we fall back into the 2nd. But it's very easy to forget, right? Just like the Hanuman story, right? He was struck with that lightning bolt and he forgot his powers, right?
Right.
It's very easy to go ahead and forget where we are in our journey, when life happens and Kali comes along and whacks us and, kind of knocks us back into that second or first quadrant again, we have to start over,
And what inspired all of us in last year, August, which is 2018, that's when you joined a retreat, is how you transformed during the retreat. Not just an inner, but an outer. Because most people, like, how big was your dad's beard work? I think it was bigger, maybe until here, yeah. Below the heart, you think?
It was probably right at the heart.
It was like a ZZ Top beard. And during the retreat, Kurt had a... Why don't you share? I know you stayed in a tent.
I just wanted to take it, I wanted my sadhana practice to be serious, right? So I wanted to really treat it with the respect I thought it needed for me to really get something out of it. So I stayed in, I have a little hill behind my house, and I just put a tent up at the top of the hill, and my parents were there to kind of help me with Warwick that week. And so I would come here to the retreat, learn what I could, do the service that I could, go home, say hi to them, have a meal or whatever, and then I was up, several times with the Panchamukha Hanuman.
That's right.
To kind of just have some time to myself and process what was happening, what I was experiencing, and what if that was my direction, and all those kinds of things.
So Warwick, did you visit Dad in his tent? I'm just holding the mic close to you. At that time, last year, remember that?
Yeah? I think so.
And what did you think of him shaving his beard?
I thought it was just smart and that he needed to wait until he read 100 and... how much?
108.
108 books.
And then what?
And then that's when he let his beard grow back.
Cool.
Because why? Do you want me to have my beard or no?
Yeah, I do.
Love it.
He misses the beard.
That's interesting. And talk to us about the filming. I know you've already filmed me with a few other people. We filmed together. So these are people who, we're going to do it before or after the retreat. And there's a spreadsheet Kurt has put up where you can actually sign up for filming, where we talk about your story. But the idea is maybe you start with a murti, your archetype. And this philosophy is called henotheism. Henotheism is very much like kathanotheism. There's a word called kathanotheism. It's not polytheism. Kathanotheism or henotheism is like you take one deity, but it's a manifestation of the totality. It's consciousness. So it can be any deity, any archetype that speaks to you, right? So you don't put down the others, you're okay with the others, but that's one in special that resonates with you. So we're going to start with that during the filming, and we're going to talk about your story. You can start with the symbols, I can do some teachings, apply to your life, and we can do the filming in whatever direction you want. And you use the film as part of your YouTube channel. We'll actually give you the film. You can do whatever you want. Because the way of learning and teaching these days is non-hierarchical, where we can all learn from each other, we can all share. The top-down model is less prevalent now. People connect with podcasts, YouTube, so that's what we're doing. But what's your perspective on the filming with people?
I think that it's, no matter where you are in your journey with the Murtis, or if you're coming to this brand new, if you've just met Manoj at a festival or something like that, and he's invited you to come, and you basically either didn't even buy one, and so you don't have any experience. I think that this is the place where just telling your story will lead you into what an archetype is and help guide you into what that means. And as an example, I had a friend tell me that my archetype, who doesn't study murtis or statuary, was a truth teller, right? She was the one who used that. So then a week later, I'm reading the Gita with my Gita group, and I started to resonate with the Krishna aspect of he's a truth teller. He just says it like it is. He may do it in a compassionate way, but he's not going to cower from telling what the truth is.
Yes.
So anybody, can come here and say, just in telling your story, you can lead yourself into identifying what your archetype is and what your, therefore, murti might be to really focus on and bring into your life, just by talking about what your journey has been so far. And the words will come out and your ears will pick it up, and Manoj will go ahead and hear you, and the other people here will hear you. And again, even with no experience at all with any of this, you can still find a lot of real good benefit out of it.
I love it. And I also want to stress, you do not need to buy a murti. This is not like a marketing or any other BS, right?
Yeah.
This is for everyone. The interesting thing I found is, I think my feeling is 30-40% of the people who come to our retreats do not buy murtis, but they love the teachings, the stories, the practices. So the practices we do are puja in the morning, which is Jyothi will do that at 7:30 in the morning. So it's not like a peaceful retreat, right? Like the Hanuman's, that mountain, that golden mountain. No, this is work. This is 10 hours a day, 7:30 in the morning until 6. But we do the puja by Jyothi, do the pranayama, the meditation. The meditation is based on the philosophy. So it's really a very unique kind of meditation where you're abiding in the self. There's yoga, there's a lot of philosophy, a lot of archetypical storytelling. There's the karma yoga part of the Bhagavad Gita taught by Jyothi. So it's a full day, right? 7:30 to 6.
Very full day.
So at the end of the day, we all come in with our stories. We're going to be together for about 4.5 days. It's a safe space. There's a lot of sharing, a lot of laughing, a lot of crying. But at the end of the day, we are all connected, interconnected. And what we're going to try and do is I connect the dots. And there's a lot more to come, but I'm going to leave it right there. Jai Ganesh.
Jai Ganesh.
Goodness.
There you go.